So hello and a warm Wiki Weekdays welcome to all the guys, gals and non-binary pals. I am Lucas Holland and as always I am joined by my lovely co-host Karl Smallwood.
Hello.
And Karl, today we went on a bit of a rabbit hole adventure, I will say.
We did indeed, yes. We had two conversations that basically just mentioned the wiki in name only and then immediately veered off into other territories. The two wikis chosen were Thundercats, the 1985 TV show, and the... what's it called?
The Virtual Boy from Nintendo.
Boy. The fact they never released like an adult version called The Virtual Man. Give me it.
Imagine the Game Man. What does that look like?
Yeah, someone made a 6-foot-tall Game Boy that had all the Game Boy games on it called a Game Man.
I didn't know about that.
It's really difficult to say that without it sounding like something else. Like, oh, I'm going to play on my 6-foot-tall Game Man.
Yeah. I love my Game Man.
Yeah, it doesn't hit the ear right sometimes.
But yeah, we ended up veering off into discussions about just, nostalgic cartoons and cool voice acting. And then for the Virtual Boy discussion, we ended up on talking about, maybe good and bad ways that technology can veer into. But
yeah,
it
a horrible,
was
apocalyptic, just nightmare digital hellscape that we're all veering towards.
Well, I like to think it was a interesting and fun discussion, hopefully.
I love discussions like that, as cynical as they come across. They fascinate me. Human nature is an enigma that I am yet to understand.
It does hopefully come across fascinating for other people as well, but I enjoy going into those weird rabbit holes as well, and I guess the mascot for our weird discussions this week is our Pet of the Week.
Yes, we've got two of them, haven't we? We've got two pets, and they're both blurry as all hell, and I am fully supportive of blurry pets.
We do appreciate the blurry pets.
I'm just going to say it right. Folks at home, we do Pet of the Week. It is our gimmick for our podcast where you can submit a picture of your pet to our Discord. You can submit pictures in our Discord by joining our Patreon at any tier. And this week, it's Minnie and Sid, right?
So Minnie, I guess, would be the first one named, so is there for the Pet of the Week, but we're giving it to Minnie and Sid. But yes. Minnie, instead of climbing on top of Sid to snuggle, decided to just, climb on top. And, still managed to be a blur. But it's a very blurry and good photo.
And I'm going to say it, whoever submitted that photo, I'm liking the floor drobe. I know a floor drobe when I see one, right? Of there is definitely a pair of jeans on that floor just out of frame that not quite ready for the wash, but not quite ready to be hung back up.
How dare you?
They live on the floor now.
I live my life like that, Karl. I live in the floor drobe. Oh,
when something you've worn it for a couple of days, you didn't go out wearing it, so it's not dirty yet, but it can't go back in your drawers or be hung up because then it's going to be touching your other clothes that are cleaner. So it either goes on your floor drobe or on the back of a chair.
I was going to say there's the chair drobe tech as well, which is more accurate to I guess how I do it. But yeah, I'm working double jobs. It's often get out of my uniform into then recording here and just the chair drobe is a tech.
It is. It's next level tech. I don't do that, save for with my socks, because I change my socks twice a day. So I have socks all around my house, just ready to go, reloading a gun.
Do you have double socks per day?
Yeah. I like the feeling of a fresh pair of socks, and I decided many years ago that it doesn't hurt anybody for me to change my socks that often. And as far as addictions that make me feel good go, changing my socks isn't going to hurt me.
No, it may be the worst addiction you've ever had, Karl.
Just the feeling of putting on a fresh pair of socks.
It will harm not just you, but others and the world.
No, I think I'm joking. It's not too okay. Is it weird? Let's get some feedback, folks.
That's a pretty minor.
No, but is it weird? Because you reacted to me changing my socks twice a day as why do you do that?
It's weird.
I like the feeling of fresh socks.
I'm not going to pretend it's not weird, but it's not harmful.
Is it that weird?
It's a bit weird.
Okay, I'll tell you what, folk, we mentioned the Discord. Go down there. Is it weird that I change my socks that often? Also, while you're down there, go vote on the pets of the week. If you see a pet in there you picture or react to it, let us know. Call them a good boy, good girl.
Yeah, or join any tier on the Patreon to contribute to the Pet of the Week pictures. But yeah, I guess...
Or a higher tier to see your name on screen above. floating around above our heads, or towards the end of the video, either as a shout out or the new mini shout outs we've been doing, but more on that later in the week.
Okay, yeah, we're editing this today. I guess the shout outs, because we've had a weekend off, will be the January shout outs still.
No, they won't.
Unless we record it right after this.
We've already done the February shout outs. They've been edited.
Did we? Oh my god.
Yeah, we did them last week, Lucas. Don't worry, we got this, baby.
Oh my god. Okay, we did work ahead of time. Okay, we planned this out.
We got ahead.
We got ahead. Okay, fab.
Thank you.
Do
you know what else that helps you get ahead for your day as well? Changing your socks to a nice fresh pair.
I'm forgetting the work we did before going out for a weekend of drinking. It happens, folks. Oh dear, but yeah.
Do you know what feels good after a night of drinking? A fresh pair of socks.
Yeah, but not twice per day. Well, it probably does feel nice, but it's just not something.
Try it.
Maybe I will. Check
in
next podcast.
Is there anything like that you do that, like, you know, you just, it's a habit that you have and people think you're weird for it? Like, I've got a bunch of those. Like, I keep like crisps, like chips for Americans in the fridge. It tastes better out the fridge.
I do not do that, but I do keep cream eggs in the freezer.
Yeah, that's another one. Like, a lot of stuff to keep in the freezer. Chocolate in the freezer.
I do change my underwear 8 times a day.
That's too much. How much? Like, that's the legendary tweet, isn't it? Does anyone else pack for a holiday and shit themselves twice a day, every day for 3 weeks straight?
When I mean, you know that I overpack for stuff. When I pack for anywhere, like, I will pack for 8 different eventualities happening. I cannot pack for what a normal amount of things are needed. I will pack for just what happens if I'm away for a week and a disastrous thing happens every single day while I'm there.
Yeah, what about if it rains every day and I've got to change my socks?
Exactly. I need 83 pairs of socks.
It feels... Also, I've got a lot of socks. So like the few things, so like there'll be like lots of socks around the house. Like, that's the pair I'll put on later. I'll look forward to putting... That's a good pair, so I know they'll feel good when I put them on.
Carl, you'll be putting on.
Okay, now I'm describing it. It does sound a lot weirder now of describing it like this. We should probably move on.
Well, we need to move on to your wiki of the week.
Okay, so here's Karl and Lucas from the past for us, the future for you, talking about Thundercats.
So, Carl, which wiki have you brought this week?
Well, I thought we could talk about an old TV show that is older than both of us. Because very recently, we both met up to celebrate our joint birthdays. You turned 34, I turned 35.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I did for my 35th birthday is I got nostalgic. So, well, I'm going to be turning 35. Let's make myself nostalgic for being younger than 35.
So let's make yourself nostalgic for something that was around before you were born?
Well, it's more we can use it as a jumping off point for a conversation about stuff that we watched, listened to, played, interacted with when we were younger. Okay. I thought I bring forward the wiki on Thundercats, the 1985 series. And the reason I brought it forward is because I've recently been rewatching She-Ra Princesses of Power, which if anyone's watched the channel for a while knows I'm a fan of, because apparently it's been removed from Netflix. Some rights issues making it be removed from Netflix. So let's rewatch it before it disappears forever.
So what you were really doing is rewatching that to get hyped to see Jared Leto as Skeletor.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Got it. Everyone can't wait. We're all on the edge of our seats.
We're all on the edge of our seats, yes. But, like, you know, because She-Ra Princess of Power is, like, you know, it's an adaptation of She-Ra, which itself was a spin-off of the He-Man TV show, and He-Man and Thundercats, and the G.I. Joe show, which we didn't really get over here. They're all kind of, like, nebulously linked as just old TV shows for kids that were slightly before our time, but we still got hints of.
Yeah, it's like He-Man and She-Ra are in the Masters of the Universe.
Yes.
But then they would be willing to do crossovers with like Thundercats and G.I. Joe and things like that.
Well, they're all, in America, they're all part of like the same like animation block. And then like including that would be like Transformers, like the Gen 1 series, which we also got over in the UK. So I figured we can just use it as a jumping off point for like, you know, things we're nostalgic for. Or things that we like, you know, wouldn't want to disappear. It's like that She-Ra thing. I was like, wow, Princess of Power was really good. Why are they... Oh, right, it's a shoe foot me, I suppose.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's just... They'll buy it, but they'll buy it for a 3-year period or whatever it is, and then it's gone forever.
But for anyone unfamiliar with the 1985 Thundercats series, Thundercats is an American animated science fantasy television series produced by Rankin Bass Animated Entertainment. It debuted in 1985 and is based on characters created by Tobin Wolfe. That is a name.
It's certainly a name to make Thundercats. Wolf as your last name, and then you go, I should make a cat project.
Like Tobin Wolfe is just that is a winning name. The series, for which Leonard Starr was the head writer, follows the adventures of a group of cat-like humanoid aliens. And this is why it's noteworthy, Lucas, because the animation for the episodes was provided by the Japanese studio Pacific Animation Corporation.
Okay, and what are they famous for?
Well, one of the things that's notable about the animation for Thundercats is, the He-Man look, right? Like the really stiff, every character has the exact same body type and they just like slot new hairstyles or clothes on them.
Yeah.
Thundercats was similar, save for the fact that the intro was handled by like some outside company who worked on like really popular anime in the 80s. And it's buttery fucking smooth. And are you familiar at all with you've seen it, right?
I'm familiar with the intro. That's basically all I'm familiar with for Thundercats, but that intro goes hard.
Yeah, and it's really strange that the show's actual quality isn't representative of how good that intro is. And that's why I thought it'd be funny, because when I was like rewatching She-Ra Princesses of Power, I was just struck by how willing it was to acknowledge how dumb the stuff from like the 80s was. For example, an entire episode where they straight up just replicate the art style and costuming of the version from the 80s.
Okay, yeah. And that's the weird thing, is that just American and British 80s cartoons were so poorly animated and under budget. When you look at 80s and early 90s anime, that looks so good and so fluid and so cool. Like, I think that's a little bit later, but, say, for example, a Cowboy Bebop. Like, that art style looks so just incredible. And then you look at, like, 80s American TV cartoons, and it's like, oh, okay.
It's like He-Man or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or the Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
And it just didn't look good. And oddly enough, Lucas, that studio would later be acquired in 1989 and became Walt Disney Animation Japan.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So that's something like the animation studio was legit. It's just that they didn't have a lot of money. And I think of all of like those shows, like Thundercats looks the best. Like, it's not as good as it potentially could be with more time and more money, but it shits all over the animation quality of like He-Man and Transformers, which is why it's interesting that He-Man is the more memorable one.
Yeah. Then you're like, I don't know the exact years on them, but like you look at like a Sailor Moon in comparison, it's like, think about what we could have had.
Exactly. But it mentions here, Lucas, that the show like originally aired in like the 1980s, but also aired on Cartoon Network as part of the Toonami block. And that's why I'm familiar with it. Because Toonami came about when we were like, in our like early teens, right? And that's where we got introduced to things like Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon.
I think I was still in primary school, so maybe when I was like 10 or something like that, Toonami started going maybe a bit earlier.
I think I didn't get access to Cartoon Networks. We didn't get like a satellite dish until I was like 11, 12 years old. So maybe Toonami was before that, but I remember watching it when I was in my early teens.
Yeah, we kind of had like Disney Channel and Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon and stuff like on and off over the years when we were kids. So I don't know exactly when it was introduced, but it certainly did introduce me to the likes of Dragon Ball and One Piece and a few other, similar shows, Sailor Moon, stuff like that, yeah.
Because in that vein, an audience at home, same question, is there any of those shows that you have sought out in your later years to see if they still held up, or just because you were curious? One for me, I've been meaning to track down for ages, is Tenshi Muyo.
Right.
Which I remember, just because I didn't know what anime was, and I just remember like that'd be on Toonami sometimes, and the plot was complete and utter fucking nonsense.
And so was your camera, Karl.
And so was my camera's flipping out for the people watching on video at home. But I remember having no idea what it was. And to the point where I didn't realise it was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like a fever dream. Until years later, I'd mention, like, there's this show about, like, it's got like, Washu or something. And it's like, Tenshi Muyo. I was like, what was that?
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it's like some huge big deal. Like, pop culture-wise. but because we only got like snippets of it, and it was a shit dub. We don't really know what it is. So I'd love to like track down a good quality version to see, okay, what was it?
I do know that this sounds completely insane from a modern day perspective, but I had watched One Piece on Toonami one time through, and it was that terrible 4Kids version that got to like Alabasta and then just ended abruptly as it like set out for a new sequel, new arc, and just never went anywhere. And I literally had seen it that one time through as a kid, didn't know what it was, didn't remember the name of it, and it was only when I got to university and a mutual friend of ours, I was like talking about anime with them and stuff.
Yeah.
And just, it was like, oh yeah, and there was that like weird pirate one with like the stretchy guy. And they're like, you know that One Piece is still a thing, right?
Yeah, you find out. It makes us sound... This makes us sound like ancient mummies.
Yeah.
Like fitting for Thundercats, because the bad guy's Mumra, the mummified like Monster Man. But I think the only one of the shows that actually managed to squeak through and still be something that I could watch and follow was Dragon Ball. Because we didn't get Dragon Ball, we got Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball Z was a time skip. So I didn't feel lost about what was happening in the plot. Whereas something like Tenshi Muyo, because like it was a terrible adaptation of a story that wasn't as easy as to translate as Goku wants to fight the dude.
Yeah,
it was impossible to follow, but I remember being enamored with the art style. So I'd love to track it down and just watch an actual good dub or sub of it.
It is wild to think about the fact that Dragon Ball Z is just the Z is added for the time skip, and it's like similar to like Naruto Shippuden or stuff like that. Where it's an extension of the story, it's just time has gone forward. But the lore drops that happen in episode, 1 to 5 of, oh, well, Goku has a kid now. He's older, he's married, he's an alien. These Saiyans are coming to destroy the Earth. We were just kids who didn't know any different, so we're like, cool, yeah. Like, that was not revelations to us, that was just the beginning of the story.
Yeah, is there any other like shows like that just stick out in your mind? It's like Dragon Ball's one of them. There was Sailor Moon. I'm thinking like the Toonami era. So the Thundercats before our time, as mentioned, it aired on Toonami. So this is when I would have become familiar with it.
So I always forget the name of it, but not necessarily with like, the Z and the time skip stuff, but just another anime that I forgot about for the longest time. It's called like Ultimate Muscle, right?
Oh yeah, Ultimate Muscle Kinku Man or whatever it was.
Something like that, yeah. And it's just that like weird anime that's about like wrestling and they're all weird different creatures and stuff.
The thing is though, I remember that even though I didn't really follow the story, one part of that always cracked me up, and it's like a training episode where all the wrestlers are strapped to each other and they're like a three-legged race.
Yeah, right, okay.
And they come across like this vertical wall. It's like, how are we supposed to get across this wall? And then I think one of the guys, I remember having like a German accent. It's like, that's no wall, that's the hill. It's the mother of all hills. And it's like a 85-degree hill. And one of the guys gets up it by just running sideways. And I don't know why, but that moment is always stuck in my head.
There will be little moments, and we don't remember Ultimate Muscle that well, clearly, but we're not talking about the really wild version that came earlier that's extremely stereotypical and racist and shit. We're talking about the 90s anime version that was way more toned down.
Yeah, where it has like the German wrestler who's wearing like a Nazi-inspired stormtrooper helmet and his suit moves like extermination gas.
Yeah, it was real bad.
They didn't give a fuck back then, did they?
No.
But, it's like there's a couple of shows that you think of like the visuals, but you don't actually know what the story is because you're an idiot. You were like a kid, and the translation was so poor. It'd be impossible to like another one for me. Cardcaptor Sakura.
I was about to mention that was one that I never watched, but I knew like the visuals of for whatever reason.
But did you hear as well? They just rewrote that show for the English dub. They just completely changed the story for the English dub.
Wait, what do you mean?
The story for the English dub was completely different. They just edited it and changed it all. So the version we got is not the actual story.
What?
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
What?
Just they didn't give a fuck back then. And
what?
Don't you now want to go check out Cardcaptor Sakura just to see? Like just to see?
How can they change the story that much, though? They've still got to work with the same animation.
They just changed one. Well, think of it like Sailor Moon, right? Where they changed like two characters to be cousins instead of lovers.
Yeah, well,
and added like an incest plot line. Or Dragon Ball, right?
They got rid of the hitting on a schoolgirl plot line for an incest plot line or some shit in Sailor Moon, right?
Or like, Pokemon, right? Oh, I love these jelly donuts.
Oh, no, that still haunts me to this day.
But they made changes. Sometimes they changed
changes, but it was a bit more subtle than changing the entire story.
Lucas, Power Rangers. The Power Rangers were just cut up episodes of Super Sentai.
But they added new footage to make it make sense.
But it's not without precedent. What's that famous anime where they just told the dub artists of like, the story's nonsensical, make shit up, and it's like Ghost Story, right?
Oh.
Well, Ghost Story, we'll have to cover it at some point because it's iconic, but we need to in a video so we can put clips in. But the story is that they bought the rights to this anime, and it was fucking god-awful and nonsensical, so they just told the people dubbing it, just say whatever you want.
Yeah. If people
It's
do
called
want
Ghost Story, you can look it up. We'll talk about it one day if you bug us enough in the comments.
Yeah, I was going to say, give us comments of weird animes that you want us to talk about. No, not weird animes. Weird adaptations of animes that you want us to talk about, where we can do it on a Wiki Weekends video and put in clips to show the differences and stuff.
Or just ones you're nostalgic for, like, in that vein. Any other ones that, like... let's keep the conversation going, because this is why I thought it'd be interesting, right? Because that set me on a loop of, like, looking up intros to old shows and trying to track down stuff that I watched to see if I remembered it and if I wasn't going crazy or not.
Escaping the kind of anime vein, but keeping it within the kids' cartoon and Toonami era of just... I believe Shaolin Showdown had a really cool opening.
Shaolin Showdown, that was more like Cartoon Network. That was like later Cartoon Network.
Which is Cartoon Network and which is Toonami. It just blends in my head. I was a kid.
Yeah, like Shaolin Showdown, that feels a little later than Toonami, but I remember
it feels like it was more early noughts, where it was like I was watching like Shaolin Showdown and Codename Kids Next Door and Jackie Chan Adventures, stuff like that.
They were all like, it feels like a slightly later era. Than,
slightly,
yeah. But I do remember having a cool intro and remember like the gimmick of like getting the different Shaolin things like 10-ton tunic. I remember the 10-ton tunic
and stuff. Yeah, and you could like combine the artifacts to give you different powers and stuff. Yeah,
same as like the talismans, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just I remember going down like this route of like, what the fuck were all these shows? And like, Tenchi Muyo. So at some point, I will have to watch that because all I know is it's from its visuals. And I don't remember a single thing about it except for the fact that as a kid or a young teenager, I liked the look of the show but couldn't follow it because I was being given a completely just hacked piece of shit cobbled together version. So just out of sheer curiosity, I'd love to see it.
I do wonder how much, the animes were different for us. I should say, like, some of them, like Card Captors, was just a different story. Like, Sailor Moon was adapted a bit, or quite a bit. And
yes.
Yeah, then you've got, like, maybe Digimon, for example. Like, I don't know how true that was to the Japanese version, but as far as the games have told me, it seems like they're pretty consistent with what I knew, other than that just nowadays Digimon has way more dominatrixes involved.
Like some stuff changed, yeah. And there's one that I can't find now, but there was a manga that I read like years ago, before I even knew what manga was. I had a friend. I think we all had that friend in high school, and we was like into manga and anime before it became a thing. Like he had like the VHSs of like the Super Cooler movie. And before I didn't even know what Cooler was, and it had like Super Saiyan 3 and like Trunks. I'm like, who the fuck is Trunks? We watched that before we had access to it like over here, because obviously we didn't get the proper release of the order release.
Carl's definitely misremembering, because there was no Super Saiyan 3 in that movie. But
you know like what I mean? Like they introduced,
I know what you mean.
And there's one manga that he gave me, and I can't remember what it's called now, because it's like it's set in a school. And it's about magicians, but that I've looked up online, and there's like a list here of the top 30 anime/mangas that follow that exact plot line.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find what it was called, because if I remember right, it literally got redone.
Oh. Like Full Metal Brotherhood style.
Yeah. They literally rewrote the entire thing and made another version. So I remember when
Alchemist Brotherhood is
the
what
style
I meant.
of that, yeah. And I can't remember what it was called, but I remember like being given it when I was younger. Like, here's this thing. It's called manga. So, okay, I'll read that. You read it back to front. Oh, that's weird. And then years later, tracking it down and trying to watch the anime versions, like, why is everything different to what I remember? It's like, and I looked it up. Oh, they literally just redid it and changed all the story, which I didn't know you could do.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that was an option. And
I can't find it now. It's not like there's so many, but I looked up the top 20 anime set in a magical school, and it wasn't there because I'd recognise it. I know I would.
Karl, magical school anime, and you're like, I checked the top 20. Is like, okay, out of what, 1 million?
And do you know what the thing is as well? I bet the one that I'm thinking of is a really bad one that no one likes, and people are like, that's the worst one. It's like, yes, but the whole point is, I was introduced to it when I was like 11. And I have a nostalgia for it, and the curiosity is what made me go back and look it up.
Yeah, it's like there's one PS1 game.
Okay, so this now we're just going like full nostalgia, right? Of like games.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was. I'm gonna keep looking and see if I can find it before we get to the end of it. But just for ones that it's not Little Witch Academia or anything like that.
Yeah, there was a game, Blazing Dragons, on the PS1 that I'm not that familiar with.
Okay.
But just like a friend was like, oh yeah, Blazing Dragons was this like cool video game where you would like solve puzzles by clicking on things and going around and stuff, and it's like, oh, so it's a point-and-click adventure game. But of all of the point-and-click adventure games you got exposed to as a kid, it was, like, of all things, like, Blazing Dragons on the PS. It wasn't one of, like, the LucasArts games. It wasn't, you know, like the Secret of Monkey Island or Grim Fandango or anything. It was, like, of all the ones you ended up being, like, shown as a kid, it's like Blazing Dragons.
I found it as well. I found it. And
oh, you did?
Someone out there's probably like, that's a shit one. I was like 11 when I read it, but I have a nostalgia for it because it was one of my first introductions to like manga/anime as a thing. It's Negima, Magister Negi Magi, known in Japan as Magical Teacher Negima. And I'm just going to read through this. It's a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Ken Akamatsu, serialized in Shonen. It's from Weekly Shonen Jump. It was adapted into a 26-episode anime that was broadcast on TV Tokyo. A second 26-episode series was produced called Negima with a question mark, which is an alternate retelling.
Right,
so
okay.
They released another season that's just the same story, but told from a different perspective. It's like, I didn't know you could do this. And that's why I was super confused when I tried to look up to watch it. Because I remember when I got Crunchyroll like a couple of years ago, oh, fuck, I recognise that. Nothing in it was something I recognised. I watched the alternate version.
I do like as well the fact that I look up this show. It's like, so what was Karl into as a kid? Oh, 30 anime schoolgirls on screen. It's like, okay, cool.
Again, I was just handed it by a friend. That friend that we all had who had...
I'm joking, yeah. It's just
funny. I have no idea what its quality is. If anyone out there's like, oh, that's a bad one, it's like, I don't know. It's my first interaction with it. Like, everyone always has a nostalgia for the first thing they were introduced when it comes to like a trope, a genre, a series.
Yeah. I mean, that's the frames that I'm looking at here. Like, it looks like it was animated well. Or it looks like it was drawn well, at least. I'm looking at images, not videos, but... Yeah.
At some point, I would like to go back and just
I can see why, as a kid, that was eye-catching. Right?
Because it's colourful, right? But, you know, we'll bring it back to Thundercats now and the basic plot. Speaking of absolute fucking nonsense. So, Thundercats follows the adventures of the eponymous team of heroes, cat-like humanoid aliens on a planet called Third Earth. Story's complete nonsense. And Joe, I mentioned earlier, like ghost stories, that anime where the dubbers are just like, they don't give a fuck. There are now infamous clips out there of the voice actors for Thundercats just like breaking character in the recording, going, the fuck are we talking about? And I apologise that my camera's doing the thing.
It's all over the place today. We apologise.
I cannot express to the audience at home who don't have to record content for a living how infuriating it is to have a camera that literally never moves and the setup never changes. And yet, sometimes your computer decides not to recognise its input.
And also, we've recorded just before this, and the camera was fine.
The camera was fine. But either way, yeah. Like, there's an iconic one where it's like, the MacGuffin in an episode is like, we need to get the Samoflange. And there's literally a recording of the voice that's in the recording booth going, the fuck is a Samoflange?
I want to get a summer flange. I don't know what it is, but I want one.
The fuck is a summer flange?
I don't know what it is, Karl. I don't know what it is, but I want one.
In that vein as well, like, you know, speaking of shows with nostalgia, like your favourite MacGuffin from a TV show or cartoon or anime that you just remember as a kid. Like, yeah, it makes perfect sense.
I mean, off the top of my head, probably the Millennial items from Yu-Gi-Oh!
They were so dumb, right?
They were so dumb.
How did Yu-Gi not get mugged for his solid gold £4 like pyramid around his neck? Even if he didn't have magical powers, he's 5 foot tall. How is he not getting mugged every day?
Like, how is he not dragging that thing around on the ground? Like, that thing would break his neck.
Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is another one, right? If I remember just like Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid, like, I've got no fucking clue what's going on in any of these episodes. It just looks cool.
Don't worry, if you rewatch it, you still won't have a clue.
No, what was the Millennium item you wanted as well? Why was it the Millennium Ring? Because speaking of like medallions, Bakura with the Millennium Ring, which has its own medallions, a medallion with its own medallions.
I always wanted the Millennium Eye.
Oh, the Pegasus.
Wear it like a blinging eye patch. Let's go.
And I guess as well, she mentioned Pegasus. Let's give a shout out to voice actors from these shows where voice acting still isn't as respected a profession as it perhaps should be. Back in the 90s and the early 2000s, and especially in the late 80s when Thundercats would be made, it was not respected at all. But some voice actors still gave it their all. And I think one example is the guy who voiced Pegasus.
Darren Dunstan.
Like, he didn't need to put his whole ass into that performance.
But he did. Boy.
Exactly, right? So is there any, like, voice actor you want to give a shout out to? Like, because presumably when Darren Dunstan went to a recording studio, it's like, this is Pegasus, is a dipshit. He could have just, like, it's a paycheck, I'll do it, but he's like, Yugi boy.
Yeah, I'm obviously just Seto Kaiba as well, right?
Let's find out. So let's give all these people credit as well. So I'll say Seto Kaiba voice actor. Like, what's the favourite, like, Seto Kaiba line?
I don't even know, because I don't remember Yu-Gi-Oh! That well by lines, but just, he always put his all into it.
It's Eric Stewart. So we've got Eric Stewart.
And just, obviously, if we're mentioning anime and voice actors, like, just Chris Sabat, right?
Everyone. Vegeta, Piccolo.
Everyone. Vegeta and Piccolo especially, but, like,
All Might.
Sean Chamel is, like, you know, Goku, great, fine, whatever, but, like, Chris Sabat, there's a reason why everyone preferred Vegeta, right?
True, yeah. But, like, there's just something about those, like, early dubs where you can tell the voice actors, like, having a lot of fun with it. Like, I think the classic example has to be Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime. And I wrote an article a year or so ago about how Peter Cullen got cast. And you think it'd be a stupid role that no one would give a fuck about, right? And that was the case. Peter Cullen recalls that when he was going into audition to play Optimus Prime, he talked to his brother, who was in the military. And his brother asked him, so what are you going in to do today? So it's a voice role for a children's TV show about some truck who transforms. Some silly thing. And his brother went, well, no, it's a kid's show. Right? You want kids to have good characters to, like, you know, feel like represented by, but like aspire to. Tell me more about this truck. And he told him he's called Optimus Prime and he's a leader. He's like, well, he's a leader, is he? So what voice are you thinking of giving him? Well, I'm thinking, like, you know, a goofy one. It's like, no, if he's a leader, he should speak with, like, quiet, reserved authority. And he should never shout. Because he doesn't need a true leader who inspires people shouldn't need to shout to be heard. People should want to listen. So according to Peter Cullen, he thought to himself all the way to the studio to audition, well, who out there embodies that the most? He thought, well, it's my brother, of course. So he is mimicking his brother's speech, like, patterns and cadence and voice when he voiced Optimus Prime. Then his brother passed away. So Peter Cullen has this, like, really... like big he has a lot of affinity for Optimus Prime as a character, and that's why he continues to voice him to this day. because it allows him to, like, capture that connection with his brother.
Yeah.
And just like I said, he didn't need to do that to voice a transforming truck for a TV show about selling toys to kids. But
no,
he
of
did.
course not. Yeah. And I want to go on the opposite side.
Okay.
And just shouting out one very memorable bad performance.
Okay, bad performance, then let's go.
For some reason, they none of them were that great in the One Piece 4Kids version.
Okay. Well, I think 4Kids is infamous, right, for having some bad dubs.
We'll shout out of Sean Shaw voices like 4 different characters, side characters.
They didn't have much money, did they? That's the thing.
No.
It goes to show how little respect they had for a voice acting as an art form.
I was looking through and like trying to recognize names, and like I looked at like say for example the Thundercats. I looked at the voice cats there. It's like they're a little bit older. I didn't recognize those, but for some reason Sanji always stands out as being even worse than the rest of the voice cast in the 4Kids version of One Piece.
Okay.
So shout out to David Moo. I'm just like, look, 4Kids all around was bad, so I don't think these people are necessarily bad voice actors. I think it was just terribly done.
Yes.
But yeah, they give off a performance of Sanji that is incredibly memorable to me, even to this day.
Yeah, like, you could be memorable for being bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I will give credit for mentioning like Thundercats and He-Man. We'll give a shout out to John Irwin. So he was the original voice of He-Man. And apparently, like he was his picture on IMDb is him wearing a cowboy hat in black and white. So clearly he's like an established stage actor from like the 60s, 70s.
I did see that headshot ping up in the cast list, yeah.
So when he got brought in to voice the character, they were like, joking around in the voice booth, and they asked him of like, okay, so what's going to be your take on this character? It's like, well, he's the most powerful man in the universe, right? That's what the prompt says. It's like, yeah. So they were expecting him to shout and speak like Joe, heroic. So that's why he was like initially brought in. Similar to the Optimus Prime example, if he's the most powerful man in the universe, he won't need to shout. He doesn't need to be braggartly or like flaunt his strength. Everyone knows he's He-Man. The exception being when he shouts, "I have the power." And apparently that's how he got cast. Because initially when he was doing his voice lines, they didn't think he's fit. And then they asked him to say, "I have the power." And that's when he does like the, "I have the power." And like that's the one time that He-Man will showcase even a fraction of how powerful he is. I think just like they say in like, there's a great making of documentary, they talk about when he said that, the voice booth rattled with how loud he shouted it.
That was great.
I just think that's like, it's interesting, right? Of even something as dumb as He-Man, the voice actors still gave a shit. Like likewise, Alan Oppenheimer, Skeletor. Initially, everyone who auditioned plays Skeletor. He's a skeleton villain. They all tried to do like a creepy evil voice, which is what Mark Hamill does, right? It was like, I'm Skeletor, like, or whatever the fuck. Whereas Alan Oppenheimer went, well, why not just make him really nasally because he hasn't got a fucking nose? So he looked at the camera, he hasn't got a nose, so make him really nasally, like, yeah. And that's now the most iconic thing about the series, right? He's more iconic than the title character.
Well, I can't wait to see Jared Leto do the nasally voice, right?
He's not going to do it, is he?
No.
But I find stuff like that fascinating, similar to like the Thundercats, where like the voice of Lion-O, like Larry Kenny, who does all like my dad.
I love the fact that he's got fucking Lion-O. Lion-O, yeah.
But it's when he's like, he puts on that classic heroic voice, where it's like, Sword of Omens, grant me sight beyond sight. It's so cheesy, but I love it. It's like, do you like Superman's voice from like the animated cartoon where it's like, this looks like a job for Superman. There's something about that it's so reassuring to hear. And I do recall like a lot of interviews with Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime, where he talk about how a lot of people would approach him and say, I saw Optimus Prime as something akin to a father figure, just because of how like reassuring his voice sounds. It's stern yet fair.
Yeah.
Like it's powerful yet comforting.
But, it stands the test of time as like one of the greatest animated voices even to this day, to the point where like
they keep bringing it back.
They try to bring him back as much as possible. Yeah,
it's just even some of his lines as well, right? Of freedom is the right of all sentient beings. Like fuck yeah, Optimus Prime, let's go.
Optimus Prime went woke. Oh no,
he always has been.
He always has been. It's great.
Always has been.
But I wanted to shout out somebody else who I thought gave a good performance, and that was Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop. And I generally watch sub nowadays, but obviously I grew up with a lot of these 90s and 80s things are like those animes I heard in dub, so I'm more familiar with those voices. But yeah, the dub voice for Spike Spiegel turns out to be Steve Blum, who I am very familiar with because they are Wolverine. In many, many animated Wolverine versions.
Yeah. I think he is just Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
Like he is Wolverine. He I don't think he gets as much play as someone like who's like another voice, like a Goku or a Chris Sabat being Vegeta.
Yeah,
But he is Wolverine.
He is Wolverine. Like them bringing Steve Blum back for X-Men 97 is like, yeah, that's Wolverine.
It's like, Steve Blum, please, please, please just go eat more gravel and drink more whiskey.
I'm not thinking, it's like, it shows the range because Spike Spiegel's really not like super gravelly or anything, but then like Spike Spiegel being Wolverine doesn't comprehend in my head, but that's the skill of being a good voice actor.
It is, yeah, and that's like, I've got the Transformers voice list up now. It's like Peter Cullen, obviously, like Optimus Prime, legendary. But Frank Welker, Megatron. Do you know what his other most famous role is?
Frank Welker. I think
spoilers,
I always get this confused.
He's everybody.
War?
No, he's not that.
He's that's another guy. I always say Frank Welker is the Gears person, and it's not.
That's D. Bradley Baker. Frank Welker.
D. Bradley Baker, yeah.
Frank Welker is the voice of Fred from Scooby-Doo, and Fred is his normal speaking voice.
Oh, really?
Fred is his normal speaking voice, and he does Megatron as well. He also was the lions from The Lion King. He's all of like the gremlins in Gremlins. Like, he's fucking everybody.
Yeah. I'm talking about something a bit later now, but speaking of, animes that I'm used to watching the dub voices in, which is probably the latest one I ever watched dub that I'm used to is Death Note.
Okay.
And there is the actor for Light Yagami, Brad Swale, who is also apparently known for X-Men Evolution as Nightcrawler.
Oh, okay.
And they're known as, at least in Street Fighter X Tekken, the Jin Kazama.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, they've voiced Light Yagami, Jin from Tekken, and Nightcrawler from X-Men.
There's a couple, let's just say, there's every now and again, you'll just get the urge to look up a show or an IMDb page for like something and go, oh, it's that guy. I wonder who else. Oh, they're everybody.
Yeah, it happens a lot with voice actors, but yeah, just Light Yagami, if anyone like just wants to, see a good scene of voice acting and just direction in general, just like watch the scene where Light Yagami is writing in a notepad and eating some crisps, and it's like the most just like incredible scene you've ever seen. It's so cinematic, and it's just a guy eating some crisps and writing in a notepad.
Well, oddly enough, like, because obviously what inspired this was She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. Like, one of the things that's like astounds me to this day, watching the show again, knowing who the voice actors are, is the fact that Karen Fukuhara, aka, like, the silent, like, Wolverine character from The Boys, is Glimmer.
Kimiko.
Yeah, Kimiko from The Boys, like, is Glimmer. One of the most, like, girly girl, like, excitable characters ever.
Yeah. I mean, on that note,
I similar. Even watching the show, even though I know it's Karen Fukuhara, I've seen her in interviews do the voice. I cannot see her doing the voice in my head because it's just so synonymous with the character now.
It's similar to how Stephanie Beatriz is Rosa in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes.
But then also plays Maribel in Kanto.
And yeah,
just
Rosa's
the
not her voice.
Between those two characters is like, the moment you hear Stephanie Beatrice in an actual interview and she's so light voiced and peppy,
Yes.
and you're like, oh, I did not expect this. Like, Rose Diaz is the antithesis of how she normally talks.
Yeah, so when you see, like, if you're watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Rosa does the fake, like, girly girl voice, that's, like, Stephanie Beatrice's real voice in real life, which is, like, a level of acting that just breaks my mind a little bit of, she's pretending to be somebody else, and in that voice is doing a mocking facsimile of her actual voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great.
Similar to, like, I'll give some other shout-outs of AJ Mikulka. How would I pronounce that correctly? Catra. So, like, Catra is, like, the main villain of She-Ra Princesses of Power for much of the series.
Oh, okay.
And when they have, like, the episode where they do the throwback to the one from the 80s, they have AJ Mikulka voicing Catra, but doing stupid cat puns.
Right.
So she's talking like Catra does in that show, but it's as if Catra was playing a part in another show.
Yeah, so it's like, this is what Catra would be like if they were in
cast.
an 80s style, like, She-Ra version of that show.
Yes. And another one is, we have it here, of Christina Woods, where she voices the character of Entraptor, and her voice as Entraptor sounds nothing like the actor's voice in real life.
Entraptor?
Entraptor. Like, Lucas, you need to watch the show. It's super fucking good.
I really should watch the show, yeah.
Yeah, well, there's just a couple of voices that you're watching on it as well, where it's like, okay, they got the real shit, like Daniel Day Kim, they bring him in.
Daniel Day Kim's in so many things.
He's so good, though.
He's everywhere.
Because he's really good.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's not me saying it's a bad thing, but just, I always think of him as a kind of, live action performer. But then you find out he's voiced so many things as well.
Yeah, he's Johnny Gat. I always say he's Johnny Gat.
Yeah, he's Mr. Negative as well, right?
He is indeed. I think it's somebody else. Is it Daniel Day Kim?
Somebody else? I can't remember.
We'll have to look that up, yeah.
I'll have to correct that, but yeah.
We'll have to do a double check for that. But yeah, I just find it fascinating, like I said, to put props and give respect to voice actors of how difficult that must be.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like, I almost respect voice actors more than regular actors in a certain way, because, like, you've just got to do it all in a voice booth. Like, you haven't even got anything to work with.
Well, that's the thing as well. They talk about voice acting being difficult. It's not more difficult than acting. It just requires an entirely different skill set.
It's just a different thing. They're difficult in different ways.
And I think as well, we can all think of examples of, this person's not a voice actor, even if they are an actor, giving a shittier performance in a piece of media.
I don't want to dunk on them too much, but I do think that a good example is probably the game Dispatch, where I think Aaron Paul, Aaron Paul in that game, it's a video game, they voice the main character, and they do a good job, but they sound like Aaron Paul.
Okay, because Aaron Paul's a good voice actor. Like, his guest spot in Invincible is fucking incredible.
But again, he just sounds like Aaron Paul.
It's not a bad voice, though.
It's not a bad voice. He's got a very good voice, and he acts it well in both situations.
Very expressive.
But he is just Aaron Paul sounding.
Fair.
And I think there's a good difference between an actor being good with a good voice and a good voice actor.
Yeah.
Where, they will lose themselves in that performance. Think about, when we talk about, Karen Fukuhara of, you just don't even know that's the same character as Glimmer.
I cannot... her performance is so good. I cannot overstate how good her performance is in this show. And I know I'm talking about a silly princess show for little girls. It's really good.
Or, I think a good example of somebody that's a great voice actor but kind of always sounds similar is Sean Trammell. You can always kind of pick out that Piccolo.
Yep.
But
no, Sean Trammell's Goku.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Chris Sabat.
Chris Sabat. You can always hear the Piccolo. But it's different iterations on the Piccolo, and they're still a great voice actor. I'm not trying to diminish people necessarily, but I do think there's there's levels of skill, and Aaron Paul is a good voice actor, but he always sounds like Aaron Paul.
Yeah,
and
that's because his voice is so iconic.
Yeah, it's a great voice for that character, and it works well. And I enjoyed him as a character in that game, but all I hear is Jesse Pinkman a lot of the time.
Yeah, he's not like Bryan Cranston, where Bryan Cranston cut his teeth doing villain voiceovers for Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget about that.
Don't you find stuff like that out of just like this random actor was like this guy?
Which is fantastic because then Bryan Cranston is I can't even remember that. Zordon.
He's Zordon.
No, it began with a Z. But it's Lord Zed and then Zordon. Yeah. But yeah, he was Zordon in that really not great Power Rangers movie that I'm going to make you talk about at some point.
I don't want to talk about it. It's just not as good as the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I'm going to make you
watch it and talk about it.
Fair enough, yeah. And I guess there's not much more to say about Thundercats. Like I said, plot's nonsense and the actual show itself is just... It's interesting. And it is a franchise. It did have both a spin-off film called Thundercats Ho, which does link into the original show. It had a 2011 series, which is apparently quite good.
Oh, right, okay.
It's decent, but apparently it didn't end. Like, it was one of those shows where they made it got good reviews, but it didn't do well. So it never got a proper definitive ending. And then we have here Thundercats Raw, which I think is one of the ugliest TV shows.
Oh, I don't like the sound of Thundercats Raw.
It's because it has... I'm just going to send you a screenshot of the show, and you're going to immediately look at it and go, I know exactly... This is going to be the most insufferable thing I've ever seen. Because it was just... Lucas, look at the screenshot.
Oh, it's very Steven Universe art style.
Yeah. It's like, oh, Steven Universe is popular. Let's make that. And it's just... It worked for that one show. I don't think it works for Thundercats.
Not gonna lie, maybe it speaks the way my mind works a bit too much, but when you said Thundercats Raw, I imagined the Raw being spelled R-A-W.
Rather than...
And was like, not raw like a cat. I was like, this sounds like something that kids shouldn't be watching.
Yeah, it's like, just, you look at it and think, I think it's the Karl art style it's called. Where it's a distinct look, and it does work for some shows, a la Steven Universe. I just don't think it's the art style this show should have had.
It doesn't seem like the right way to reboot Thundercats, no.
No, especially when they already had the template
for the anime-esque art style.
Yeah. Of what like the original show's like intro and stuff looked like, and that's what the 2011 version looked like. It was close. It was a bit stiff because it had that. It was a bit like I describe it like Teen Titans. Remember that?
Okay. Yeah.
Like Teen Titans. Teen Titans is a good example where they had that like realistic Western animation with the anime influence. Where there's a bit of fluidity to it.
Yeah.
But then there was like other shows of its ilk, like there was like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reboot that was too stiff. Remember, I'll send you a picture of like the 2011 reboot. You can have a look and go.
And it's not to say I don't appreciate that kind of art style like the Steven Universe one, but just it doesn't seem right for Thundercats specifically.
I can show you.
It's like, for example, speaking of Teen Titans, it's not quite the exact same art style. Teen Titans Go looks really good.
Yes. But I think the original Teen Titans animation style works way better.
Well, I think both work very well because they both go for very different tones. But yeah, the one that the original Teen Titans goes for feels quite adjacent to, Batman the Animated Series and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's also as well worth mentioning there is an episode of Teen Titans Go where the entire cast watches an episode of Teen Titans and admits in universe while looking at camera, oh, this is better. So within the context of the show, they admit the old one was better.
It's a bit mean, really.
It's all the same voice actors.
Yeah, it's just like, I think they're just going for two very different things. Teen Titans Go was very, good.
It just was geared towards a younger audience, and that...
Yeah. But when I've seen, clips of it and stuff, I'm like, this is animated very well, good writing. I don't think there's any reason for the creators of Go to shit on themselves and say that Teen Titans is better.
But it's I describe it as, it's aimed at a younger audience, but it's aimed at an audience that's so young, where it's difficult to watch it as a young adult.
It's better to watch it as, highlight clips, right, for us, because it is written for a young audience, which is fine.
Which is fine, yeah. It's difficult to watch as an old person. Obviously, the storylines and stuff are very simplistic and it's all standalone stuff. You don't have like overarching story beats. And I realise we're talking about a fucking cartoon now. So let's move on, Lucas, to your wiki, shall we?
Well, yeah, but we'll take a quick break first because I'm in the toilet, and then we'll get into a bit of housekeeping and go on to my wiki.
So I guess before we get onto your wiki, Lucas, there's just a little bit of housekeeping. And the main bit of housekeeping to mention is that people should keep their eyes and ears peeled for content going forward, because there'll be a little update about the content for both this podcast and the associated videos, as well as the Patreon, going forward into 2026. And I believe the first one of those will be going live around Friday, right?
Yeah, so a couple of days after this podcast goes live, we should have like something up on the Patreon and probably like put up as like community posts and stuff like that. Just not as like a main video on the channel to not affect analytics, but yeah, just explaining some of the changes that we're making and some of the new things that you can look forward to in 2026, including some like new exclusive content over on the Patreon for anyone that's supporting us.
Yes, and just as Lucas mentioned, like we're not going to try and like throw our analytics off by just uploading like a 3 or 4 minute update video, but you'll see like it clipped out in a couple of videos going forward. We're not going to make it an ongoing thing of putting in every single video. So yeah, and we'll also be putting like a link to it in our Discord, which you can find a link below. There'll also be like, the video on our Patreon. So if you follow our content more than just listening to this or watching this passively, you'll probably see it. Otherwise, it won't affect you. And that's fine, because if you're just a person who likes to passively consume or watch our content, that's good. You're still adding to our analytics. But for the people who like, they interact with it more than that, there'll be updates for you there. And after a month or so, you probably won't see them much anymore, because we don't want to just bombard people with the same message over and over and over again.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, you'll have noticed if you watch the last couple of weekends videos that there's like an extra like little mini shout out for more of the patrons and stuff like that. And there's just a few other changes that we're making. But yeah, if you want a full, more detailed breakdown, just go and check out the Patreon in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I will say as well, I've enjoyed making those mini shout outs.
Yeah.
I've already got like 3 or 4 ideas for the next couple of mini shout outs. So yeah, nice. If you're one of the people who's supporting us at that tier on our Patreon and you've liked seeing that and you want to make suggestions for other ways we can give a mini shout out, let us know.
Exactly, yeah. But
we do tend to get good feedback to those end of video shout outs that I've been editing.
Last thing, we tried to make the effort of what I would like to say is more than most other channels. I'm shouting out the people that support us, so if you would like to contribute to that and get a little shout out, then you can always check out the Patreon in the link below. But yeah, I guess we don't have anything else for housekeeping, I don't
Not
think.
General housekeeping, no. We still need to discuss that privately behind the scenes, because we're playing catch up a little bit this week. So, Lucas, what is your wiki that you brought forward, mon frère?
Well, this week I wanted to talk about something that is both unpopular and popular at the same time, which is the Virtual Boy from Nintendo. And yeah, I'm kind of surprised we haven't talked about this before, but it's now getting games re-released on the Nintendo Switch, and is the peripherals that they're selling are selling out, which is quite ironic considering the Virtual Boy's fate.
Yeah, it's par for the course with anything Nintendo, right? The one thing you can't take away from Nintendo, especially modern Nintendo, is that they are on point with making sure they stock just enough of everything they sell so it sells out.
Yeah.
Not enough so there's ever anything left on store shelves, but just enough so it always sells out. And there's always going to be that small crossover right here who kind of were thinking about maybe buying it, who can't. And they're the annoying people on Reddit.
Well, I guess I'm in that little cross-section of tempted but not buying.
Yeah, and then you see it and it's sold out.
And then you see and it's sold out. But I also know that I wouldn't get much use out of it, and I'm just let's be sensible, it's probably not a worthy investment.
The only value I can see in owning the Nintendo Virtual Boy is to jury rig it to be a pair of sunglasses. Because that would look dope as fuck, walking around with that shit on you as a pair of
how would you ever see through it?
That's it, jury rig it to make it into a pair of sunglasses.
Okay. I mean, Karl, the one thing you've got to remember about the Virtual Boy is you can't attach it to your head.
That's where the adjustments come in. No doubt someone's going to take that shell and turn it into a case for their Oculus.
But yes,
I don't doubt that's going to exist in 5 minutes of that thing being released.
If people aren't aware, the Virtual Boy is a 32-bit tabletop portable video game console developed and manufactured by Nintendo and released in 1995. And the phrase tabletop portable video game console doesn't work. That's not very portable.
Lucas, where do you put your video game console, if not on a tabletop?
Yeah, but the Switch I put in my hands.
Okay, but where do you put your other consoles? Where do your other rectangles live?
Okay, my other rectangles that aren't portable live not on a table, but on like an entertainment centre. But they're not the portables, Karl.
Yes,
they are the non-portables.
Technically, they're all portable. I remember back in the day having like the PS2 that's the size of like a jewel case.
Yeah, or the GameCube, which had a handle on it.
I remember putting that shit in the pockets of my tracky bottoms and taking that to a friend's house.
But like,
portability is just a matter of will and effort.
It's a matter of perspective, right? But the idea of claiming that the Virtual Boy is, portable is the same as being like, well, my PlayStation VR is portable. All I need to do is plug the wires into a console.
Admittedly, yeah. Does the Virtual Boy fold up? It must fold up, right?
No.
It gets delivered in a box.
Well, the legs might fold up, but like the system itself does not.
But there must be some way to break it down from like the tripod size.
I think the legs fold in, but that's about it.
Then you can put that in a bag.
You can put it in a bag, but I can put a fucking PS5 in a bag if it's big enough. It doesn't mean it's portable.
Well, it is.
So if people are unaware of the Virtual Boy, it is a standalone system where you have to have, again, it on a tabletop. Because Nintendo, decided, or, through research, discovered that when it was strapped to people's heads, that it would give them, headaches and problems like that, etc., eye strain. So what you would have to do is have the Virtual Boy set up on a tabletop and put your head into it. Like, it's not like a, MetaQuest where you strap it to your head. It's essentially a VR device that you put your head into, not that you put on your head.
It's more akin to, if anyone's ever been to a museum and you have those old-fashioned movie shows where you look through a viewfinder and spin the thing to see the horse run or the Victorian era lady flash her nips.
Yeah.
It's more akin to those where the idea is you'd sit down and look directly into it and experience the game as opposed to having the game on your head. And I get it. I've worn a VR headset once and nearly, I think within 5 seconds I was on the floor.
And unlike other VR headsets, Karl, did you know that this thing has a way higher frames per second than they do?
Well, isn't that the thing about a lot of old Nintendo things, like the Game Boy, the original fat brick-sized Game Boy had 60 frames a second?
Probably, yeah. But I will link below a video from the Slow-Mo guys, which you should watch after you've listened to the rest of this podcast.
Okay.
Which is very fascinating, where the Virtual Boy is the display works by shooting a laser up and down and across a bouncing mirror on each side of the eye at millions of frames per second worth of speed. I'm
going to be honest. The words laser, mirror, eyeball, millions per second doesn't sound like something that's going to be conducive to long-term eye health.
Exactly.
That seems like something. I always reference it because it's so perfect. Of the only good part of Ready Player One of this is how many ads we can cram onto a headset before the person has a seizure. It's no wonder Nintendo's we've got to strap this thing down. It's only contain the power.
Honestly, it is one of the most impressive gaming display feats I've ever seen broken down. It's fascinating.
And it's in service of absolute just dog shit games.
It's in service of games that were kind of okay, but were slow, fully red monochrome, you see in black and red, but because it's on and off, it is monochrome, it is red or nothing. And those games are like, not the greatest games ever, but they are in stereoscopic 3D.
Stop being Lucas, they were dog shit. Stop trying to be
No. I will not dunk on it too hard, because apparently some of the games were decent. I've not played them. Maybe I will soon.
How many games were there? 20?
There was a release of 22 video games, Karl.
Great.
So the Virtual Boy as an investment proposition is not great.
No.
The Virtual Boy in terms of like each individual game being bad, not necessarily.
I would love to see it jury-rigged. I bet, as I said, within a couple of weeks of that thing being out, there's going to be all sorts of crazy stuff people do. People are like slotting Oculuses into it. I imagine people will figure out a way to like run YouTube on that thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I'd hope, at least, anyway. Well, I'm always fascinated when people like...
You say that, we still haven't got YouTube running on the Switch 2 yet, so...
It'll run on the Switch. There's a brick or a hacked version of the Switch 2 that'll play YouTube.
I'm sure. But yeah, it had a red monochrome display viewed through a binocular eyepiece with games employing a parallax effect to simulate depth. So it did do stereoscopic 3D. I want to say without glasses, but it'd be easier to wear glasses than to strap a Virtual Boy to your face.
I'm on board, though, with Nintendo. This sounds like quite quaint technology-wise today, and it does look very rudimentary compared to what we have now.
Yeah.
But I can imagine back then, in the 90s, if you gave that to a random person on the street, they would immediately fall over as soon as it's on their head. It would be... 3D today is already disorientating, even though we live in a far more technologically advanced world.
Yeah, I mean... That's the thing. They may fall over because of how cool it is. They may fall over because of how heavy it is. They may fall over because how much of a headache it's giving them. We don't know. There's multiple reasons to be, put off by the Virtual Boy.
Well, there's a couple of reasons why 3D has never taken off. It's because there's just a small, but nonetheless significant percentage of people who simply cannot wear the glasses or alternative. I am one of those people. I cannot wear 3D glasses or a 3D headset or a VR headset for more than 5 minutes without getting a headache.
Yeah, but the 3DS did a pretty good job of it, and it's essentially... I can't look at that, right?
It gives me a headache as well.
That gives you a headache as well, right?
Yeah,
okay.
You just call it one of those things where you look at it, it gives you immediate eye strain.
Right.
And there's just a small percentage of people out there who have the exact same experience. It will never be as ubiquitous as television or flat screens.
No, it won't be. No, definitely not. But, the 3DS did sell a lot, but also many of those games did not lean into the 3D at all. Like, think of Pokemon, where the 3D was turned off the moment you went into a battle. Just most of the 3DS games that I ever played really didn't employ 3D. I think the most kind of, important or noticeable version of the 3D that I saw on 3DS was A Link Between Worlds, where just they had multiple dungeons that were very vertical, and you could quite clearly see the difference between the floors as you jumped up between floors and stuff. But yeah, Super Mario 3D Land had a couple of puzzles where it was more evident what the solution was when you had the 3D on. But it still doesn't mean that it's not an impressive technical feat.
The impressive technical feat, I just don't see the value of it as a consumer
product. Yeah.
What does this add to my experience? Something like a sound bar. I can see the value of a sound bar when you hear the depth of the audio mix, when you have a full surround sound setup, when you're just watching a film and it feels like you're there, or a really, really good TV where they talk about how you can see the depth of the colour and the the vibrancy of animation and stuff like that. I don't see that with 3D. I've never had that that moment that people have sometimes, for example, the first time you watch HD. Yeah. Maybe our audience is too young to understand this, but I remember the first time I saw a HD TV and went, that's the future. The first time I listened to surround sound, the audio cancelling headphones. That's the future. Or you look at a phone with an OLED screen. That's the future. I've never had that with anything 3D. I put a VR headset on. I don't think this is the future. I think this is a terrible gimmick. I want to play Smash Bros.
The argument I'll give for VR stuff is that I have had that moment with VR.
Okay, maybe what specifically, and I'd be interested to know.
Well, Beat Saber.
Even still, I don't think the VR headset adds to the experience enough
think
for
it does.
Not enough for it to be a system seller.
For me, it was. I literally built a VR after playing Beat Saber. So
yeah,
to me, that was the perfect thing. I'm a sucker for rhythm games, Karl. I'm
of course, yeah.
Many monies into my rock band collection of instruments and songs. I'm a sucker for rhythm games, and how immersive the VR experience was with Beat Saber, that sold me on buying a VR headset, and I basically never played any other VR game since.
Okay. But I think for me... But
I was going to say, for 3D, I haven't had that moment.
Okay. It's like for VR, like with Beat Saber, I just never got over the sense of my own sense of personal geography. I'm always so aware that I am rooted in place and that I am not a character in this virtual world. I am the apple on a stick that moves around. Mm-hmm. And the thing that always throws me off when I tried any VR game is turning around. And every single VR game I have ever played, or like the VR experiences, immediately break when you either stand up or turn around. And it's like something as simple as looking behind me, breaking this world and this immersion, is not very great. Like, I think
that depends what you play, etc., etc., right?
But I think it's like when someone tried to make me like one of those VR driving sims, and I sat down in it, and like my head isn't through the roof of the car because I was too tall.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to spend like 5 minutes twiddling with the settings. I went, it shouldn't be this difficult.
Yeah. It should be as easy as you walk up to a virtual boy and push your head right into it.
Yeah. It should be as easy as like when you go into a store selling TVs and they just show you, they press a button, here's like HDR or like a sound system, right? Of like, here's the surround sound, here's like the 5-minute audio mix we play to demonstrate the technology at its best.
And I think, the market does suggest that you are correct in this instance of just, it led to Nintendo, discontinuing the production in 1996 after the release of only 22 games because, the commercial value of this product was almost non-existent. No one wanted it.
No one wants it. It gives you a headache. It looks like shit and the game's that fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, the games are apparently of mixed quality, including very good games. I will say that. But
right? That's the equivalent of like there's all those VR games. Like I said, Beat Saber, but you can play Beat Saber without the headset. It might add to the experience, but you can still play the game.
I don't think there is a version of Beat Saber.
There's got to be a version without the helmet. There's no way that game is locked to buying a £500 add-on for your head. It's on PC.
I mean, I'm sure if you did some kind of modding or something, you could probably play it without VR, but I don't think there's any way to actually play it without a VR system if you just buy it.
Why would you not be able to play it without a VR system? People can watch the screen of the action of what you're doing. How would that...
I don't think they've ever developed the version without VR.
Surely you can just look at the screen.
You could, but I don't think they've ever developed that version to just buy
but would it not just work, just plugging it in and looking at your screen? Yeah.
In theory, yes, but I don't think they've ever made a version that you can just buy that works without having a VR headset on.
Okay. I obviously I've not looked into this, but I
don't think that version of that game ever got developed. I don't think they ever made a non-VR version.
Okay. I just always assumed it looks like one of those things about it doesn't... There's nothing about this that isn't critical to it being in VR when you can just look at the screen and the things on screen follow your movements.
There isn't
the same way the iToy did 15 years prior.
Yeah, true, but there is the developer intent, right? Is that they decided that was a VR game and that was how they're going to sell it. So as far as a quick Google can show, let us know in the comments, I guess, if I've got that wrong, but I did a quick Google and it does not seem as though there is any version of Beat Saber that is just automatically buyable and playable that doesn't require a VR headset.
Yeah, I imagine like you need the motion controls because that's the gimmick. For me, Beat Saber's gimmick is the motion controls, not the VR. It's like
because like if you told me that it was playable on a Wii if you had 2 Wiimotes, I would believe that.
That's the thing. Like, it's the motion controls that are the gimmick. So that's the core of the gameplay. The VR to me feels like an add-on to.
It is, the people but I guess it's an add-on that was important enough to the developers where they didn't make any other version.
Fair enough.
But yeah, speaking of like the vision of this VR device, the Virtual Boy's development spanned 4 years under the codename VR32, just virtual reality 32 bits.
4 years.
Yeah.
For 1 year and like 22,000.
Yeah, that's 22
the thing, games and 100,000 copies.
1 year and 22 games. And it sold, units-wise, 770,000 units, which, not great. Not great, really, considering that at the time, the SNES was probably its closest, like, Nintendo relative, and the SNES, I think, sold, so it sold, like, 49.1 million units.
Not too far off, then.
Yeah, just another 49 million units, and you're there.
Yeah, it's I guess I'm going to be really like negative, for lack of a better word, about like anything VR/3D. As mentioned, like I physically cannot interact with the medium without feeling like shit. But also, just over the years, it has been near universally rejected by the mass audience. It has not been adopted. So widespread.
One of the wild
3D
things,
TV never went anywhere.
3D didn't,
died.
Which is one of the aspects of the Virtual Boy. VR has been adopted to a certain amount, more so than 3D, but they are like mutually exclusive in most devices. Like most of the VR devices are not 3D devices, whereas the Virtual Boy was.
I'm conflating the two because I see like 3D as a technology that was pitched as the next big thing, went nowhere. I see VR as the next big thing.
Oh, well, let me tell you how NFTs go.
Exactly, yeah. It feels like one of those gimmicks that tech bros want to push on an audience that just doesn't want it. And I think there's a couple of reasons why. One is the aforementioned, a certain subset of people will never be able to use it. Two is the exorbitant cost that will likely never go down because the cost of the technology doesn't ever feel like it's going to diminish to the point where it's going to be as mass adopted as like a TV. You could pick up people give away TVs now, big TVs that are like HD. You're never going to get a second-hand VR headset for like $50.
Like the MetaQuest, I think like the most recent one is only a few £100, but at the same time, like that's reasonable
relative, to the other examples.
Consoles and TVs and stuff like that. It's technology talking similar price points, if not more, for other versions. But just the idea that recently Meta got rid of a bunch of their VR developments and stuff, so clearly they don't believe in it, including I think it was called like Supernatural or something like along those lines, which was this fitness workout kind of game, like Wii Fit but VR kind of vibes. There was a very heavily dedicated fan base that would log in nearly daily to that game, and that was an ongoing successful live game. And even then, Meta just scrapped it and said it'll no longer be supported. And just, if there's a greater example of the lack of support for VR and the lack of belief in VR, I can't think of one.
It sucks. And like I said, the other thing, and I think this is the single most important aspect, and the reason why VR will never ever take off, and it's something that the people making the products that have it or incorporate it don't seem to realize. It's the form factor of every single device looks stupid. You are never ever going to get people wearing one of those things and not look like a fucking idiot.
Well, Karl, obviously the Virtual Boy made you look like an idiot, but do you want to hear some of its other problems according to this wiki.
Let's go for it, yeah. Because that's the thing, like VR, like the headsets and stuff, as much as they try and push them, they just look stupid. It's similar to like the wearable tech that was a boom in like the 2010s, where like Google Glasses and stuff like they just look stupid. And people just on site knew you were an asshole for wearing one.
That's the thing is, like, obviously the Meta glasses, I can't remember what they're called exactly, but those
the Sex Predator glasses.
Yeah, the Sex Predator glasses. Those things don't look as dumb anymore because they've, like, confined the technology and they're partnered with Ray-Bans and stuff.
Which adds its own new thing of, like, now you're wearing a camera that you can hide the fact is a camera, which is its own
one
fucking
tiny
nightmare.
little light on your glasses, which you can probably just cover up, right?
Yeah.
And it's creepy as shit. And just, at the moment I ever clock anyone wearing them, I'm going to know, oh, you're probably a creep.
Which, it's not... Ray-Bans glasses, Ray-Bans look cool. But that's its whole other nightmare scenario. And for example, Lucas, here is a picture I've sent to you of... Here's a software engineer who's wearing his Apple, Vision Pro to his wedding. Why don't you look at how cool that guy looks?
I'm sorry, podcast watchers. The Discord was on the wrong screen. It blacked out.
Doesn't he look cool?
Oh,
Doesn't his wife look really happy that he's turned their special day into him being a fucking loser for internet points? Look how happy his wife looks. This is the photo he released.
Yeah. Dear God.
The thing is, Lucas, do you look at that image? What do you think of that guy? Just give me your honest, immediate reaction to what that guy looks like.
It's not good.
Dressed in his best suit on what should be the happiest day of his life.
Mm-hmm.
What's your immediate thought?
Absolute arsehole.
Arsehole.
Especially from the way his wife is looking at him.
And that's the thing. The people making this tech will never escape that label because just the technology, the idea of having something huge and bulky on your head is just universally regarded as a douchebag move. It's it is the step beyond wearing sunglasses indoors.
Yeah.
It is beyond rude and obnoxious to wear a giant face obscuring thing that is advertising to the world, I am not paying attention to you or my surroundings. It just signifies at a visual level, arsehole.
Yeah. And I know we're being down on things at the moment.
No, I am.
Well, Karl is especially, but I do want to say the one thing that I like about the Virtual Boy is that it's a good showing both back then and now of how weird Nintendo are willing to try things.
Trying something new is always worth celebrating, but
I don't like the fact that PlayStation seemingly know exactly what they're doing. Xbox is on the other end of the spectrum of seemingly just flailing and just not knowing what to do, but both of them are being very predictable. Whereas Nintendo, it tries things. It tries the Virtual Boy, it might not work. It tries Nintendo Labo, which also works with the new Nintendo Switch Online Virtual Boy games emulation stuff. But it'll try weird things like that. And a lot of them don't work, but that's better than them just playing it safe all the time. They did things like the Wii and the DS and the Switch, and you might say that the Switch is a safe play. It wasn't at the time.
It wasn't at the time.
People were not doing hybrid systems 10 years ago.
I'm just as I've gotten older as well, I've gotten more
jaded.
Energetic about this particular opinion and the idea of wearable tech.
Mm-hmm.
I am so against incorporating technology into more of our daily lives than it needs to. I fucking hate the AI boom. I hate the idea of everyone talking ChatGPT rather than actually engaging with people.
Well, I hate the fact that most of the time I interact with people, they'll spend half of the time just on a phone.
Exactly. So I see VR as it's a push to make that the norm.
Mm-hmm.
We all know how frustrating it is trying to talk to someone. It's not that, no, but it's leading to a wider discussion about VR, right? Because obviously it's the precursor to VR games.
It is one of them. And Sega also tried that and didn't even release it around a similar time period. But it's like at tech shows and stuff of like, here's the Sega VR headset. See, and they just abandoned before even releasing it.
If they'd have done that and made it look like I was wearing like a hat like Sonic, then maybe I'd have changed my mind. That's the line I'll draw of. Not wearing it, but if they can find a way to turn windows into visual indicators. So, for example, like windscreens have been able to have a bigger windscreen on your car and have the information you need visible, like a heads-up display.
Yeah,
but I just don't trust the people making that technology to not put an ad on there.
No, exactly.
The same way, like, if I've got a VR headset, I don't trust them to not.
All you need to do while you're driving on the motorway to get rid of the McDonald's ads is just jump up and shout McDonald's.
Like, drink your verification can.
Drink your verification can. But yeah, like, if people aren't aware about that joke, there was a legitimate patent that Microsoft had around the time of Kinect of one of the ideas they were incorporating. It is that, ads could play on your screen. And for example, if a McDonald's ad played, then you would need to respond and move and say the word McDonald's to get rid of the ad for McDonald's.
Yeah, the idea...
So you had to acknowledge the adverts. And it's literally a Black Mirror episode of... If you look away from the advertisement would stop playing and say, hey, an advertisement is playing right now. Like, you need to pay attention. That is in Black Mirror. And there was a patent from Microsoft around the Xbox Kinect that was essentially doing the same thing.
And that's why they tried to bundle Kinect with the Xbox, because they pitched that to advertisers. Like, imagine you've got a player watching a TV. Like Netflix, hey, are you tired of people watching Netflix without paying for it? Our camera will tell you how many people are in the room. What about if there's 3 people watching a Netflix account where they've only paid for 2 people? You can tell there's 3 people in that room and charge their account more.
What about if we can tell that they've looked at their phones the moment the advertisement started playing? Well, guess what? The advertisement can notice that they're not looking at the screen
because it's
and
got eye
stop
tracking.
The advertisement. They can pause the advertisement.
I don't think it had like eye tracking, but it did have head tracking.
It had face tracking on the Kinect, at least the second one, because I remember if you stood in front and it recognised you as one of the players, it would log you into your account immediately.
Yep.
So they had enough facial recognition to do that, so therefore they could definitely tell when someone was looking at the screen or not.
And they're the things where I'm getting more and more jaded with technology as a whole, and I don't like how much control of our lives is being given to technology, so I'm like resisting it on like, just a fundamental level.
I understand that. However, we are talking about a 1995 barely functioning VR system.
Which I've never played, so I've got not much to say about it from the...
No, but I do like the idea of Nintendo being weird. And I love the idea that Nintendo are actually willing to recognize the Virtual Boy and not just throw it into, the ashes of forgotten history and just go, yeah, you know what? It failed. There was 22 games. We're going to let you buy something, admittedly, but we're going to let you play those games on the Switch too and acknowledge it.
At least you can learn from your failures.
Mm-hmm.
And you can acknowledge your failures as well.
And it does say here that, the Virtual Boy was panned by critics and was a commercial failure, even after repeated price drops. Its failure has been attributed to its high retail price, unappealing red and black display, unimpressive stereoscopic effect, poor ergonomics, lack of true portability, and reports of adverse health effects such as headaches, dizziness, and eye strain. And Karl, can I sell you on the Virtual Boy anymore?
No. I think I'm fundamentally opposed to all this technology, and I would not want it in my house.
I will say, just, again, plug in that slow-mo video of it'll be in the description. Go and watch that video, because the technology is fascinating for how it works. There is a 1-pixel display technically on each side.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's in service of something that I just don't care about.
No,
it's something bad as well. That's the weird... All that effort to make something that's just not great.
That wasn't great, but again, I love the idea of trying to push technology forward. Like, Gunpei Yokoi was just on some hell of a drug when coming up with the idea for the Virtual Boy, because it seems like something I can't imagine human brains coming up with the technology for when you see it broken down. But again, it's all in aid of a thing that was the worst Nintendo failure of all time, but it's fascinating as a part of history.
It's interesting, yeah. Because I'm looking at it from more like the modern perspective of like what it represented and what it was like the springboard for. You're more looking at it from like the technological advancement standpoint.
I am,
it represented at the time.
And one thing that is really fascinating and weird about it is that it's red and black because in 1995, within our lifetime, blue LEDs were still really expensive.
Yeah, they didn't exist yet.
So at the time of the development of the Virtual Boy, they did exist. They were
not in a mass market
expensive.
Sense.
They weren't commercially that ready yet. So Nintendo decided to make it just a red and black display, which just means one red LED on each side, because that would be so much cheaper than incorporating the really expensive blue LEDs. It's like, think about now where we've got the, HDR 4K 85-inch QLED displays and transparent displays coming out and stuff. And just within our lifetime, I was like, the blue LED was too expensive to put in this piece of tech.
Now, the LED is something as a technology that I am of the belief is one of the singular most important inventions of the 20th century, because the light bulb, widely considered to be one of the greatest inventions of all time, like it brought light into the home. There is a fascinating breakdown of it's the democratization of knowledge, and the way they talk about it is of like knowledge used to be owned by the rich, and the way they it's summed up is, for example, at what point in history, how much did it cost in history to read after dark? Because that was used to be pursued that only the most wealthy people could do, because, for example, you have like candles or whale oil, and being able to light your home after dark with which to enjoy the pastime of reading, learn knowledge, teach yourself, could only be done as for an astronomical amount of money, and then over the time the amount has gone down. And now we're at a point where everybody can do it pretty much in the Western world.
Yeah.
And then the difference now is that light bulbs, while they were cheap, were just astronomically inefficient. Because 95% of a light bulb's energy is given off as heat, not light. When you get an LED, which is so ridiculously efficient relative to what a light bulb is, it's like an astronomical jump from what was already an astronomical jump in terms of like technology and benefit to mankind. And now it's like not just beneficial to mankind as a whole, it's beneficial to the environment in which mankind lives. Because now it's like you can basically have LEDs on all day. And it was a fraction of the energy a single light bulb would.
In terms of energy usage, light output, and like longevity, just
shits all over
just
regular light bulbs.
Completely destroy light bulbs in terms of efficiency,
It is unequivocally one of the singular most comprehensively just better inventions ever devised. Like, sometimes there's benefits to an older invention. Maybe it's like more use, maybe it's like more hard wearing, has like some minor benefits. He's like, there is no benefit to using incandescent light bulbs over LEDs. Like they have been completely and utterly usurped by every conceivable metric.
So there are certain things that they are better at in terms of
giving you skin cancer,
pleasantness,
aesthetic,
aesthetic value of just they can create just warmer and more friendly lights than LEDs generally are able to, or people at least have bothered to produce. But
for example, I have
people are making
LED.
strides in that department as well.
I have like an LED lamp or a light bulb in my other room that is reminiscent of an incandescent light bulb.
But that thing is,
it can be replicated.
That's a new thing that people are trying to do now. Is that now that we've figured out how to make LEDs so easily, and every single person is getting LED light bulbs. It's like, well, now let's make LED light bulbs that are warmer and friendlier and more aesthetic like the incandescent bulbs were.
Yes.
And that's where people are aiming now.
It's potentially like the only benefit they have is more like purely personal preference. But just I found it fascinating just reading that breakdown of like, throughout history, knowledge was always something that was like held and like hoarded by the rich, and only they could truly enjoy it. Because
the sun was a gatekeeper, a literal gatekeeper of just like the sun just didn't want us to read, Karl.
Well, think about that. After the sun went down, there was not a lot you could really do without being able to see. So the democratization of light, just having access to light, and the fact that like, LEDs are able to provide it for a literal fraction of the cost.
We're aware candles exist, but you try reading by candlelight and telling me how easy it is. It's doable.
The expense of a candle as well.
But it's expensive to light a room with a bunch of candles.
Exactly. Whereas you can light an entire room for like a literal fraction of the cost.
Mm-hmm.
And just, I don't think it ever really gets the LED doesn't get the play it deserves because it's so ubiquitous. It's like, you turn a light on your room and it's lit. But when you look at that light bulb in the ceiling, it's like that's not going to run out for like 4 years.
I was going to say, also, like, the ring light I've got in front of me right now has not run out since I've owned it. I bought it for like, maybe a tenner about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's still it's just there, just being a nice little ring light.
I bought a light bulb for my bathroom that's like had a guaranteed 25,000 hours or your money back. Yeah. I looked at that and went, that's amazing. That's £2. I spent £2 for something that's guaranteed to last for 25,000 hours.
Well, going back to the wiki, Karl.
Okay.
I presume it was like a manufacturer, RTI, and Nintendo said that a color LCD system would have been prohibitively expensive, retailing for more than $500 at the time. So instead of using like the red LED system, having a color LCD system would have rocked up to $500, which is equivalent nowadays in 2024, it says here, to $1,030. So maybe add a few hundred extra dollars onto that as of 2026. It's not going well, everyone. But a color LCD was also said to have caused jumpy images in tests, with ongoing concerns about motion sickness, the risk of developing lazy eye conditions in young children, and Japan's New Product Liability Act of 1995. And then
they talk about like people going to be driving cars wearing this thing.
Yeah, but like that's still an ongoing concern. Remember that the 3DS came out, and they legitimately said, I think it was children under the age of 11 or something should not be playing with the 3D on.
I just think like children under a certain age shouldn't interact with technology to the extent that they do. I think to all those studies that have been done about how attention spans have been utterly fucking annihilated by the instant access to information afforded by the internet and tablets.
Yeah, which is true. And,
I think it's wild. On a graph, it's like, it's just a straight drop.
I think
attention spans are a fraction of what they were.
Yeah, like, I think, YouTube Shorts, TikToks, all that good jazz. The things that you can find us on are literally harpering people's attention spans quite rapidly. I've noticed it as a trend within me and friends.
We had that this weekend, right? Remember?
Growing up with that.
Yeah, like remember, like we were like a friend of ours, like he was playing Claire Obscure, and we were giving him some we were walking him through some of the missions, and the instant the cutscene started playing, he picked up his phone and then acknowledged that I know this is bad. I don't know why I do it, and put his phone down because it's just ingrained in him the moment a cutscene plays in a video game to look at a second screen.
Yeah. Or with Netflix, for example, right? Of just watching, a lot of people pointed out in Stranger Things Season 5 is the amount of times that characters would sit there and explain everything out to us. Because the assumption is, and a lot of executives and producers and stuff in Netflix are telling creators to put in explanations like that because the assumption is that Netflix is a second screen background thing now. So don't let the audience have any kind of, agency or ability to read what is happening on screen because they're probably not fully paying attention.
Yeah. And
explain it all.
It's harrowing.
Yeah.
It really, really is. It's scary to look at. I think to friends of mine who are teachers who talked about kids looking at paper and trying to touch it like they would a touch screen and throwing hissy fits because they don't want to read a book or those stories from university lecturers and college teachers saying kids are throwing fits because they don't want to write 300-word essays and stuff like that. And it's dire.
It is, and let's not. Not
sure how we got onto that.
We're going down the rabbit hole of negativity here, but I understand that.
I find it fascinating.
I find it fascinating. I just hope that people also find it fascinating listening, rather than just thinking two people are going on a rant about the younger generation is fucked. It's
I include myself in that. I am more than aware that I have done that. I find it very difficult now to sleep without white noise.
Oh, I have had that my entire life, yeah, but
which translates to listening to music or headphones. I find it very difficult to just walk without listening to music, for example. A lot of people consider music to be just it's nice to listen to music all the time, but if you think about it, it is a distraction, and not being able to walk about in nature without a distraction is kind of bad if you think about it from a certain perspective.
No, yeah, it is, and I understand that it is, but it also doesn't stop me from needing to have music or a podcast on or something at all times.
On occasion, if I'm going to the shop to get some milk, I'll make the effort to not listen to music. But if I'm going to the fucking gym, I already hate it there anyway.
I will never make that effort. But obviously, I have the ability to sit here and talk to you, and yes, we're trying to keep an eye on the wikis and do some bits of Google searching every now and then. But obviously, I have demonstrated the capacity to sit here and have a conversation with you without mostly any distractions. It's not like I'm incapable, but if it's a personal choice, I will always have background noise on.
Fair. I've got one for you as well of in regards to people just constantly having to be engaged and have stuff like that. I think this is why the idea of a VR headset for me is so harrowing to think about.
Yeah, go on. You just talk about that.
It's that, yeah. I already find one of the single most, obviously, it's not that big a deal in the grand scheme of things, but just from the perspective of a person, I find one of the most disheartening things when you're talking to someone and they do that.
Exactly what I just did, which for audio listeners, I just picked up my phone and pretended I was just browsing on my phone while listening to Karl.
It's that classic thing, isn't it, of people always talk about when you're at a house party or in a group setting and you try and tell someone an anecdote or a story and nobody's listening.
Yeah.
And you just trail off and just stop talking and withdraw into yourself. It's that on a societal level.
It really is. And I know that you've mentioned before, sometimes you've just been on dates with people and stuff where you just realize it's not going to work because halfway through a sentence they'll just pick up a phone.
Yeah.
And it's I just need to be able to talk with someone.
I've had it happen a couple of times. They'll pick up a phone midway through a conversation. Not they've had a conversation. Oh, sorry, it went off. I'm just going to see who this is.
Just the habit of it.
Right in front of us. It's just they need to have that constant reassurance. And it's all in cinemas. When I go to cinemas, people pull out a phone midway through a film. It's fucking.
That's why I am almost always watching things at home now. Is because the etiquette of film going is definitely on the decline.
It's fucked. Go on. Let's bring it back around now, though, Lucas. What would you want to use a VR headset for, though? Let's say they perfect the technology, and it's not a big, goofy, stupid headset. It's similar to the headphones I'm wearing now. You can wear it as simply as a pair of headphones, it's a pair of glasses like you're wearing now.
Mm-hmm.
What actual information would you want to have access to? Because I think to phones, we talk about phones, right? I distinctly recall when phones first became a thing.
Yeah.
Mobile phones. There was a load of like news stories and like Tomorrow's World style, like talking heads segments about what is the purpose of a phone? Why do you need to have a phone on your person at all times? What value does that add to your life? And now, literally, you can't go anywhere without a phone. Everybody has one in their pocket because the functionality increased and became to the point where ubiquity was, if not necessary and required, useful enough to basically become a part of everybody's like daily carry. What utility would you want in like, you know, a theoretical like VR headset that was perfected in both form and function?
I guess I don't want too much out of it. I don't want it to be too smart because, again, I don't want to lose kind of my agency and thought. I don't want that ability to, like, you know, say, for example, if somebody is having a discussion with me and goes like, oh, similar to what we did earlier of looking on voice actors of like, oh, what did this person do in this thing? Like, maybe it would at times be nice to have that come up, but if I was just having a general debate and discussion when it wasn't meant to be on video where we're trying to do a bit of on-the-fly research, I don't think I'd want any of that to just come up straight away without asking for it. But one thing I would like is the ability, when I'm cooking, to have a recipe list just like on my eyeballs at all times.
And presumably,
so when I'm learning to cook a new dish, if I could just have the recipe up on the fly without having to look at my phone and then ignore all the adverts that are on said recipe list and scroll past their story about what it meant to them when they like found the recipe in like the Himalayas or something. Like, just if I could just have a basic recipe up at all times on my glasses while I'm learning a new food to cook, that'd be incredible. I love cooking, and that would be such a time saver.
That's a post-it note.
It would be, but it would be a post-it note that could just be like movable and removable on my glasses or something like that.
Maybe if
I could turn the transparency up and down whenever I needed it, things like that.
Or maybe, you know, we're talking about, you know, a theoretical perfect version of this technology. Maybe if it could, like, you know, hologram, like Tony Stark hologram style. Here's, like, how big 400 grams of butter is.
True, yeah.
Here's where you cut.
However, we need to talk about it at some point. I need to get you to... Like, maybe we need to do this as, like, a Patreon video so it can be, like, a bit of a short thing. I don't think it's quite got the legs for a full Wiki Weekends video, but are you familiar with, I think it's like a German show maybe, where they just need to like halve things perfectly?
No, but I think I've seen like GIFs of it.
We need to at some point just sit down for 5 minutes and just debate whether people are cutting things in half perfectly and watch that. I'll put that on Patreon.
Like the water game, right, where you've got to put like a drop of water into a cup.
A little bit. Or like just the idea of like, I don't know, I've seen a few TikToks of, oh, well, we're all, like, kitchen staff and we've got to cut, like, 100 grams of butter out of this block of butter or something.
Try and, like, visualise how much this thing is and, like, see if, like, your ability to visualise said amount is accurate. Like, basically, your own internal ruler, which would be something that could be eroded away, if not outright destroyed, by technology making it ubiquitous for you. The same way, like, GPS has basically all but ruined people's ability to read maps.
I was going to say, people don't know how to read maps, and, like, I'm not even, again... We're not here to dunk on a younger generation. I also know that most of my friends don't know how to read maps.
Yeah, but obviously that's a skill that has been eroded away. But in a sense, like it's not really that important a skill when the ubiquity of the technology to replicate it is in your pocket.
I have not lost the ability to read a map. I still know how to do that. I've lost the ability to remember phone numbers, though.
That's one, yeah. I can remember a couple of phone numbers. I remember mine.
Why would I need to remember a phone number?
But like in regards to like if I could have like the functionality of the glass, I think in regards to walking around, having the ability to be like, I am going to this location, and I would like it to go, boo, boo. Like, I look at the road and it'll tell me which direction I go.
Mm-hmm.
I find that could be useful, and in my theoretical perfect like version of this technology, it wouldn't ever get inundated with ads of like, hey, there's a coffee shop nearby, you should go there. But I know, being cynical, that's what the technology would eventually like resort to.
I mean, look at it this way. If you think that wouldn't happen, Google have essentially made their own services worse and their own website worse so that they can push the AI features.
And the premium version.
And the premium version, etc. Like
YouTube.
Yeah. We're on literally a platform owned by Google who often diminishes the ability for people to use a platform without paying for premium. And I guess, hey, keep an eye out for that Patreon plug so you can, we're planning on having like audio versions available on Patreon so that you can listen to it in the background rather than
speaking of which,
using YouTube. So that's a thing that's going to be coming this month. And just people actively make their platforms worse. There's a literal word in shitification,
as we've talked about in the past, yes. But I feel like that could be a benefit of a theoretically perfected version of VR technology. I'd also like the ability to just, again, I want in my theoretically perfect version, people would know when I'm doing this, but the ability to say, I like this view, boop, take a photo.
Yes.
But I wouldn't want something like that to exist in something that could be hidden, because that could be so easily abusable, and it is easily abusable. People are wearing like those VR glasses to walk into bathrooms and stuff.
It reminds me of when I was like researching stuff online about like, oh hey, I'm going to Japan soon. I'm not now. I wish I was, but when I was going to Japan, I was like looking up a lot of videos about it and stuff, and just I happened to come across a thing of like, oh hey, so like all phones in Japan make shutter noises.
Yeah, there's no silent mode
because they don't allow people to be able to take photos secretly. There is no silence on the camera shutter, like noise. There is no camera shutter, but
yeah. And if you need to know why is it, Lucas?
And maybe people can do their own research, but it's not good reasons.
It's the ubiquity of upskirt photograph on trains and stuff like that. So they need to have phones make noises so people can be aware of that happening.
Well, okay, Karl, say hi. That's the thing.
It sucks, doesn't it? And that's the thing. Technology is so beneficial, but people always find a way to. And the technology itself isn't evil.
Make it creepy. It's like it's similar to people getting caught out of like taking smart glasses into toilets and stuff,
bathrooms, right? Or like wearing them during sexual encounters.
Washrooms. Yeah. And there's been this technology available for many, many years, hidden cameras, stuff like that, but it's becoming more and more accessible and small and less noticeable.
And that's the problem of like, but the utility of, and I know I can just like pull my phone out and take a photo, but just the idea of like, or even like, a highlight reel. Do you have like heart rate monitors where you'll wear it and it's like, oh, here's your highlights of like, okay, you had like physical exertion at this point, or overnight it'll track your breathing and stuff and say, okay, you had a period of intense breathing, you probably had a nightmare, or like you woke up to go for a piss, and that can be useful in like helping you like live a healthier, better life. Having just like at the end of each day, like it is a highlight of all the moments where like, your heart rate increased or something like that. Like it's like a dash cam for your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be so open to abuse. But that would be a really useful thing to have.
One thing that is probably, a bit creepy in the wrong context. I think this was like, I'll mention this story without any names because it's like friends of mine. But
okay,
I recently met a friend of mine that like reacquainted themselves with another friend from high school.
Okay.
And they'd kind of like been like, hey, like kind of, one friend has kind of shut himself off from the friend group. What's going on? Like, just want to make sure they're okay kind of vibe. Like, catch up with them, stuff like that. It's like, oh, hey, they've left their location on Snapchat, so I know where they are. So they just, like, turned up at the house one day and was like, hey, hope everything's okay. Like, let's, catch up, blah, blah, blah. They're now, like, talking again and stuff. And that's, like, a nice version of that story. But it's like, how many apps out there are just like, oh, I have my location on this thing that people can just publicly find. And
so we get one of my favourite images of that girl who's just tweeting of, I think my boyfriend's Snapchat is like malfunctioning because it says it's in Magalove. You just see like his little Bitmoji in the middle of Magaluf's by a load of girls, and it can be used. That's there are benefits to that technology, but there's like
there are upsides and downsides to most technologies,
and history has taught us, and modern history has taught us that those downsides are probably guaranteed to be a thing. And it's a shame, like I said, like the idea of having a camera on your face, you can capture the moments in life where you wouldn't necessarily have the time to pull a camera, or it wouldn't be suitable to or possible to. And just having like a literal Snapchat of your view at that point would be incredibly beneficial. But I would never want it to exist because of the potential for abuse.
Who have like the Meta glasses and stuff talk about like, hey, it was just really easy. Like every time I was having a nice like family moment on holiday to just tell my glasses to record it and stuff, and it's like that is the ideal use of it. But you know, there's bad uses of it.
Exactly. Like, imagine like the ability to, like I said, like just the idea of not a body cam, a dash cam for your eyes, where just those moments in life that you can't capture because they're spontaneous, like your child taking their first steps.
I think as well, like also the advantage of it being from your glasses, so it's not from like here.
It's your perspective.
It's literally your perspective. It's your memories. Like again, like that's unique really like cool, powerful, unique stuff. But it can also be used in such horrendous ways. Here's a creepy guy who's walking around a school and taking pictures of all the students. Oh, it's linked to people's Facebooks. It has it has like facial recognizing technology. Now I've got that person's Facebook profile. Now I've got their address. Now I'm going to their house. Yeah, and I get that we're being maybe negative or cynical,
realistic.
Or, whatever about this, but I do think it's, time and history has proven that it's pretty realistic for us to have these cynical viewpoints.
But it's interesting, right? Like there is a theoretical, perfect version of this technology that would be beneficial for a great number of people, and we can just never have that version.
The real question is
disappointing, right?
How the fuck did I talk about Virtual Boy and we got A?
We always do. We talk about technology because I'm naturally too cynical.
You've watched too much Black Mirror.
Oh, not enough.
God, no. No, I don't think watching more Black Mirror is the answer, God.
Rewatch Black Mirror. That'll be the thing, right?
Oh, God. No. No, it's not going to help you be less cynical about technology.
No, but it is interesting. Like I said, it's frustrating to know there are all these like amazing benefits to this technology that could be realised if people could be trusted. And people simply can't.
No, they can't. I really hate to end the episode on a note like this, Karl, but I have to just mention it.
Okay.
That I'm really sorry. I haven't mentioned it throughout the entire recording, but you do look a little bit like a carrot.
Because I'm wearing the green hat and the orange shirt. That's actually incredible. That never clocked. But you're so right. You've never been more right. I do look like a carrot. You've never been more accurately.
I held that for so long.
That is the most perfect way that's ever been described. I do look like a carrot.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's great. So that's I'm wearing a green. People, audio listeners, I'm wearing an orange big wangers ink t-shirt. It's like the t-shirt I wear to like clean my bathroom. And I'm wearing like a green baseball cap to keep like the hair out of my eyes. And Lucas just went, "You look like a carrot." I can't believe how much of a carrot I look. I'm so carrot right now.
I've been holding it in for the end.
You should have said it at the start. So during like the break, I would have just lost my shit.
Oh, just wanted a carrot call for a whole episode.
You've never ever been more right, Lucas.
Oh, but yeah, thank you all for listening, and I hope you all have a lovely day.
Yeah, see you all next time. Eat your greens.
Eat your greens.
And your oranges.
I'm telling you, I do.
Contribute to the Wiki Weekends Patreon.
Look at the credits.
Bye-bye, kids. I'm Kent Brockman. On the 11 o'clock news tonight, a certain kind of soft drink has been found to be lethal. We won't tell you which one until after sports and the weather with Funny Sunny Storm.
Karl, I think that was a good video. What about you?
I do, yeah. I don't know what we're going to be talking about in the video that just played before this sentence, but I'm sure it's good because me and you made it. And we always make good content, right?
Sure. Well done, us. We always
make good enough content for people over on our Patreon to want to support it.
We do indeed. So yeah, we just here to, as always, thank the people on the highest tier of our Patreon and give them a little shout out.
And if you'd like to join our Patreon and similarly be shouted out, it'll sound something like this. Be of awesome, new year, old me, let's keep it simple this month with your favourite King of the Hill clip. Because that's a fun thing you can do if you give us a Patreon shout out, where you can just make us do whatever the fuck you want. You've got control over this entire 5-minute segment. So if I'm going to put in my favourite King of the Hill clip, it's got to be where Bill just gets hit by a falcon.
What is your favourite kind of sausage? Chicken and apple? Breakfast patty? Italian? Spicy Italian? Sweet Italian?
And my favourite thing about it is just how quickly the falcon hits him. And it gets me every single time.
Sweet Italian?
And you also don't have to request a specific clip. You can keep it nice and simple and not give us a difficult name to read out or make a request of us in any specific way. You can just be there to support us and make sure that these videos keep happening, like the lovely Daddy Grunt.
And Lucas, come on, I say it every time we mention that Daddy Grunt has been a supporter for quite a while now. One of your favourite efforts from video games? Because there's a lot out there.
I wasn't going to say from video games. I was thinking of one of my favourite grunts. And it just put in a grunt from both of the Williams sisters when they're playing tennis.
Compared to when she first came on tour.
I don't think anything can top it's Anna Kournikova, right? Where she had like a 150 decibel tennis screen. And it's to the point where people outside of the stadium could hear her playing tennis.
Dear God.
Redonkulous, right? But moving swiftly on, the next bit of shout out is Fallopian Starship and the Tunnel of Love. And we've gone from a woman screaming really loud to that name, and I'm not sure how to feel about that.
Hey, maybe that's just another woman screaming real loud, Karl. I don't know how to move on from that one other than to say that, Karl still has a contender when it comes to the Smallwood name, and that is from Kyle Microflora.
I don't like that we now have, like, the negative version of me. Like, do you know that the Nega Scott from Scott Pilgrim?
Yeah.
What have you seen recently? Like, do you know that I Show Speed? I don't watch their content, I'm aware of them as, like, a content creator.
Of course.
Have you seen they have, like, their own arch rival?
Oh.
He's just a white dude called White Speed, and he follows him to, like, different countries. And the idea that a streamer in real life has got, like, their own Joker.
I do and don't like the idea that there is a Kyle Microflora out there doing the same thing, but please don't stalk Karl. I'm not saying that person would, but, like, I'm not going to encourage that behaviour either.
But also, you kind of got to respect someone of making their entire gimmick just being an inverse of somebody else. It's like that wrestler who, in response to, like, Glenn Jacobs, like Kane from, like, wrestling, becoming, like, a right-wing shit heel. So, I'm going to make a new character called Blue Kane.
And then isn't there now, like, an elemental list of different Kanes?
He's like, you know what? Kane was a cool character, but the guy who plays him's a dipshit. I'm Blue Kane, and I have snow powers. We move on from that now, Lucas, to Roslindis, Memphis. And once again, I will embark upon my journey to find a version of Walking in Memphis that I can use.
God.
The idea of people making Nightcore remixes are sending me copyright strikes. What are you doing? Also, have you heard as well, like, apparently younger people don't know what Nightcore is, so they're calling it, like, TikTok version. I was like, no, fuck off, it's Nightcore.
It's Nightcore.
It's Nightcore. That's my culture, and I will not have it disrespected.
That to Karl is as core to his character as wearing skinny jeans and Converse forever.
It is Nightcore, man. You can't take that away from me.
Oh, God. So some people, we try and move on, and others, we stick with the skinny jeans and Converse.
I've still got a Nightcore playlist on my Spotify, and I listen to it sometimes at the gym.
Every time without fail that I am round at yours, I just come in and you've got some kind of Nightcore playlist on.
You know what? Nightcore never dies. It should have done, but it won't.
But it won't. Karl will keep it alive forever. And speaking of keeping someone alive forever, in just the most, obnoxious way, Starscream fights for your right to Mario Party, and I live for my right to Mario Party. Karl knows this, of every single time we meet up as friends, I am the obnoxious friend that goes, give me an hour. Give me an hour of what I want, and I want to play some bad Mario Party.
And I contend one of the funniest moments of our friendship that's actually been captured live in HD is we were playing Mario Party on Twitch, and someone got the Bowser Revolution, and it stole all of your money, and just our friend on the mic went, Communism!
No, it was me, Karl.
Oh.
I made the play as Waluigi to go to the Bowser space on purpose as my last gambit on the last turn, and we got the Bowser Revolution and Konginism happened.
And it stole all of your money.
It stole all of your guys' money and made me win the game.
Oh,
that's
whatever
what
happened, I'll put the clip in of us losing our shit to Communism. But
Konginism.
My money!
Konginism!
Take it all! Communism. Clear him out!
Yeah, baby!
Clear this man out! We move on now to a shout out that Lucas specifically requested that I do, because when you tried it in the last month's shout out, you got so embarrassed by your own pronunciation, you're like, I can't do it, Karl.
I can't do it again.
We have to once again give a shout out to a long-time supporter of Tinagui Horchata, and they follow that up with more words that are very difficult for me to pronounce. I'm unfamiliar with the language, but I'll give it a go. Which is Nitlakat 1, Nietzsche Kapastani, 1, Neo Lepatok, Mosla, Nikneki, Etel. So I did look it up, and the translation loosely translates to give this one a go, white boy.
Oh, I thought you were joking.
No, it doesn't. No, it's a joke.
I'm so gullible. Oh.
Absolutely not. That sounds highly offensive. Does it, white man?
We have to give a shout out to, speaking of white, we've got some little ghosts on the go. So shout out to Ghost Emoji, Ghost Emoji, Ghost Emoji, Ghost Emoji, little underscore Ghost, Ghost Emoji, Ghost Emoji, Ghost Emoji, Ghost Emoji. The army has not expanded this month, but we'll see what happens next month, Karl.
What would you do if it turned out that person's a serial killer and that's their victims?
They can only add a new ghost when they've made a new kill.
Oh, I really hope that joke doesn't come back to bite us in the arse.
That could look real bad in the future, so please, little
ghost. That could look real bad out of context.
Please, little ghost, be a good ghost.
Be a good person.
Oh, dear, but yeah, thank you to everyone that keeps the lights and mics on over at Wiki Weekends. We couldn't do this without you. And yeah, it's just extremely appreciated. Thank you all.
Yeah, this level of support is not expected, but is very much appreciated, as Lucas said.
Yeah.
See you all next time.